Dear colleagues, good evening, and let me thank Professor Vices and Nucleix for the kind invitation to present the result of the pilot study that I announced last year in Copenhagen in the same symposium, in a completely different setting of patients who need a re-TURBT after a first diagnosis of non-muscle invasive bladder cancer, high-risk bladder cancer. This is my disclosure. All of you perfectly know the guidelines, and only to remember, the EU guidelines recommend to do a re-TURBT in all patients with T1 cancer if no muscle is present at initial TURBT, and in case of suspicious of incomplete initial TURBT. But re-TURBT is probably one of the most controversial issues in urology, and I was very satisfied this morning to assist to a very nice controversial between some experts in a re-TURBT in a nice session of EAU guidelines controversies. So the evidence about re-TURBT is very, very weak. And I think it's necessary to do some more in order to reply to the question, is re-TURBT necessary in all patients? So, last year I designed a study and I invite Professor Popiglia to join me in the study. The name is EPIC1, 2 centers and 2 labs in Italy. And after the ethical approval, we started recruiting in January 2018. The hypothesis is patients with pathology proven non-muscle invasive high-risk bladder cancer after TURBT with positive EpiScore at bladder EpiCheck test before TURBT will have a negative EpiScore test before re-TURBT if they are cancer-free. So in other words, is all the patients that shift from positive to negative EpiScore after TURBT will have no cancer in the re-TURBT specimen. The objective was to test the diagnostic performance of bladder EpiCheck test in terms of sensitivity, specificity, negative, and positive predictive value, and its correlation with the re-TURBT results. This is only to understand the design of the study. We enrolled the patient just after cystoscopy, and we collect the first sample of urine just before TURBT. All the patient tests negative at the EpiScore or with TA, low-grade or muscle-invasive bladder cancer or negative histology were excluded from the study, and only patients that need re-TURBT continue the study and collect a new sample just before the second resection, and we analyzed the results. We enrolled 79 patients. 76 patients have an EpiScore EpiCheck test available pre-TURBT. 45 patients were positive, and 23 had indication to re-TURBT. We lost some patients at follow-up. We have 14 patients available for initial results. And what about the patient with negative EpiCheck before the first TURBT? This is the characteristic of the patients, and this is the characteristic of the patients that tests positive at EpiScore at the first TURBT. So most of them are T1 or TA grade bladder cancer. So 14 patients continue the study and with indication for re-TURBT, and this is the result of these 14 patients. So you see that the blue line, the blue dot indicates the EpiScore pre-TURBT, the first TURBT, and the orange dot indicates the EpiScore just before the re-TURBT, and the cutoff value according to the company suggestion was 60. So only 3 patients had persistent positive EpiScore after TURBT and before second resection, and in 1 out of 3 we found T1 high grade and CIS, while 11 patients had shift from positive to negative EpiScore, and 10 out of 11 was negative at TURBT. Only in one patient we found a TAI grade. So the performance of the bladder EpiCheck in this particular setting was very interesting in terms of negative predictive value, about 91%. And I would like also to underline the real good positive predictive value in the overall population, but we need to consider that most of them have primary diagnosis. So in conclusion, EPIC-1 study showed bladder EpiCheck seems a promising test to be used to avoid re-TURB in some patients with T1 or high-grade bladder cancer. Very preliminary result, because this is very, very preliminary results, prove that re-TURBT is not necessary in patients with EPI score shifting from positive to negative after TURB. And this is for us an assist to probably start a multi-center study in Italy soon. Thank you very much.
Okay. So Roberto, again, if I see your slide well, you had 8 patients with a negative score, and they all had no residual tumor.
I have 10 patients with a negative EPI score, shifting from positive to negative, and 11 patients, and 10 out of 11 was negative at re-resection.
Okay. So that's, you're going to do a multi-center study. Any idea about the numbers you need to prove something?
Yeah, this is only a pilot study.
Sure.
It's only to reply to an idea, and I think is an interesting result. In order to start a multi-center study, we need to focus on power sample in order to understand how many patients needs to prove something in this particular setting.
Okay. Any question? Interesting topic, re-TOR, and I agree with the guideline discussion that it's definitely not very hard proven, but this might be a way to prevent a lot of re-TOR and to start your therapy earlier, because that's a disadvantage of re-TOR. Okay, Roberto, thanks a lot.
Thank
Great.
you.